Hello guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Okay, so this week we're going to analyze some few pairs over here. Okay, we have like five pairs that we are going to analyze for the coming week, and we'll see how the market goes. Okay, so we have Kiwi dollar, Aussie dollar, Euro Kiwi, Euro yen, and Aussie yen. Okay, so first let's start with Kiwi dollar. Start with Kiwi dollar. As you can see, with Kiwi dollar, it has been moving to the downside correctively. Okay, it has been moving so corrective to the downside, potentially pushing all the way to the upside again, breaking this high when it's ready. That is when it's ready. So right now the market is still continuing pushing to the downside corrective, but let's see what you can come up with over here. I've already drawn my key areas and my value areas. As you can see, this price came back to this bottom over here and rejected to the top. So this one I'm seeing it as a double bottom, of which to me double bottom are usually liquidity zones. So eventually will see this price breaking again to the downside to grab this liquidity. Okay, so for now, if you can come up with a pattern, you can see this price pushed up over here correctively, then we had this last push to the upside, then quickly reverse to the downside. Okay, so for me, this one, if you can see it on higher time frame, we didn't get that higher time frame correction. Okay, as you can see over here, we didn't get that higher time frame correction. So for me, after seeing this descending type of channel over here, I'll be expecting a push to the upside, potentially up to this value area of mine, then we continue the move to the downside. Okay, that's what I'm seeing over here, because we didn't get any big push, any correction on higher time frame. Okay, so with that in mind, let's just come up with our patterns. First, I see this pattern which pushed the price down to the downside over here. Okay, after that the price aggressively went to the downside, and now what I'm seeing over here, if I go to the 4-hour, you can see the price touched the double bottom with quite a descending type of channel. And if I'm to draw my pattern, let me just see if I can draw it well. This one won't line up. Let's see, let me just invert it. Yeah, I think I can see it now. Okay, if some patterns you can't see them properly, just invert them. You might see things that you could not have seen when it's in its right side. Okay, so after inverting this chart, you can see the price pushed down with this correction over here, which is a 3-touch pattern, and the third touch lined up nicely with that key area over there. So what happened after that is that the price pushed to the upside, but you can see as much as the price pushed to the upside, but these candles was so small. Okay, it didn't have that enough momentum to convince us that push to the upside. If we could have gotten a candle like this one, it would have been so nice over here, that is. But all in all, this is still a push, though it has low momentum to it. Okay, that's very low momentum to it. So what I'm waiting for currently is a correction up to this value area of mine. Once I get correction to this area, you can see it has even lined up. It has lined up with this key area over here, with which the market is reacting to it. You can see the market has been reacting to that area for for like 2 times now. So I'm expecting this price to come back to these areas before we take the trade to the upside. So this up move is just a short-term trend, because the dollar is still strong. So for this one, we are taking it as a pullback. Okay, taking as a pullback on higher time frame, of which our target will be around these areas over here. Then from there we'll be looking for the sales to continue to the downside. Okay, so that's it. That's what I'm seeing on dollar and most dollar pairs. Actually, I'm seeing this happening. So let's see, we'll see how it goes. First, for now, concentrate on these buys over here. Okay, next is Aussie dollar. Let's just go to the daily time frame. Okay, I think this one I have my pattern already. Okay, you can see the Aussie dollar, same thing. The price has been pushing quite choppy over here, and I've already discussed this pattern for like, is it 2 months ago? We have discussed this pattern already over there. We have already discussed this pattern. As you can see, it is an expiring type of pattern, and currently what happened is that this price pushed aggressive over here to the upside. Let me just go to a 4 hour. You can see with this one, it looks almost the same as QE dollar, but with this one, the price pushed aggressive over here without giving us that correction for an entry. You can see, let me just show you on QE dollar. QE dollar gave us a nice correction over there for an entry, okay? QE dollar gave us a correction for an entry over here. This was the correction after this push to the upside, and it gave us that pullback, and this was a nice entry actually. But on Aussie dollar, the price did break to the upside, but it never gave us that correction over here up to these levels over here, and then to push to the upside. Even if it was on the low over here, you can see even on QE dollar did correct up to that low over here. So even this one was a nice low to enter this market. So since QE dollar did not give us that correction in these areas, what I'm expecting is this. I was expecting this price to come back to that same level, that value area of mine. Okay, I was expecting that this pair to come back to that value area of mine and then react to it. Okay, so as you can see, what's happening is that the price has reacted to that level that we were waiting for, that correction and a continuation. And currently the market, it moved down quite correctively. And going down to a 1 hour time frame. Now let's see, can have this. Now this pattern over here, which looks okay, though the push to the upside again is not that convincing. That's the problem now with dollar pairs currently. Like, the patterns are showing us buys, but the momentum in the candles are a bit doubting. Okay, the momentum of the candles are a bit doubting. So for this one, if the price is to push to the upside, I'll be looking to take my trade all the way up to this area, then I look for the overall sales, the downside. Okay, this will be my overall value area that I'll be looking for those sales. But for now, we will be focusing on buys, even though the momentum of these candles is quite low. Actually, it's very low. But all in all, once I set my, when I know the direction of the market, regardless of what the market will do over here, as long as we don't break to the downside, for me, I'll be looking for my buys over here. So for this one, you can either wait for this correction to this value area for buys, or what you can do is you can just draw this overall trend line over here. We have this overall trend line. So what you can do is just wait for this break, followed by a correction, and then you enter these buys up to these levels over here. This one will be the safest entry that you can get out of this pair. Okay, and for me, this one looks nice actually. This second entry looks better than down here. This one will be a bit riskier to enter. Okay, so watch out on that one also, guys. Next, let's go through QE dollar. I'm just brushing through them because as last week, guys, I told you guys that our pairs had nice setups, but they were not ready yet. So right now is the time that they are ready. So we have already discussed the patterns, most of them actually. You can see with this one, the price came up to this, and I remember I posted this chart, this trade. Okay, I posted this trade. So if your psychology was right, you could have held this trade for a long time. Okay, we did analyze this pair before it tapped this value area over here, and it dropped aggressively to the downside. So seeing this aggressive drop to the downside, you can see we were left with some clean area over here, of which we were expecting this correction. Then we continue to the downside. But what happened is that the price continued pushing to the downside and started giving us this descending type of channel over here, of which now we have broken again to the upside, potentially heading to this area correctively. Then we look, either we continue to the downside or whatever it will happen. But for now, we'll be looking for buys. Okay, now let's go to a 4 hour. You can see the price came down with a descending type of channel. And if I'm to draw a pattern, let's see. You can see this top one over there, bottom one over here. Okay, nice. This one looks nice. So this is the pattern, descending pattern that pushed the price to the upside. I did take this trade over here. This was the first value area, the first correction that we usually look at. I did take it. But the second entry is, you can see it, we have broken the previous lower high over here. We have broken the previous lower high. So what I'm expecting for this price is to push again to the downside, a push to the downside up to this second value area for buy. So I could have hold this trade, but you can see this pullback over here was a bit deep, so that's why I did not hold for long. But if I was still in, I could have been looking to again to add my entries in this level, because I knew this value area that it will come back to. Okay, so but you can see this, the distance is a bit long, since this one is a 4 hour. So what we can do with this pair is that we are still left with these two big red candles over here, of which they are still clean. If we can get a correction on 1 hour time frame to this area, then we can take these sales up to this area, then we look for the overall buy. So potentially this one will give us the overall pullback to the downside before we continue to the upside. Okay, this one I'll take it as a pullback. So we'll be trading counter trend. Okay, the overall trend is to the upside, but we'll be trending against the trend. But if you know what you are doing, then you should not have any problem with it, because for us, we know the value area over here has not been tapped. You can see the price tried to reach that level, but it did not touch the value area. Okay, my value area always has to touch, So for me and for you, all of you guys, Euro Kiwi looks very nice. Actually, Euro Kiwi looks so nice. So watch out on this one. Wait for this pullback up to this level, and then we drop again to the downside, because our lower highs have been broken here and here. Okay, so I'll be looking to see this pullback inside up to this value area, then we take it to the downside up to these areas. If we get any trade that is above 80 pips, we usually take. Like for this one is 200 pips. You can't ignore 200 pips, guys. So watch out on this pullback. Then after that, we look again for buys. Okay, we look again for buys. You can see this pattern is lining up so nicely. If we get this corrective move over here. So we'll see how Monday goes, see if we can get that correction. Okay. Next, let's talk about Euro Yen. Yen pairs, we have been so patient with yen pairs, man. We have been so patient with yen pairs. And finally, I'm seeing like the market is ready to push to the downside. Okay, I see the market to be ready to push to the downside. Now, I had my value area over here after this big green candle over here. I had my value area in those levels. Okay, same way as you can see, we also had a big red candle over here. Same way as this price came back to these levels, is the same way that I did expect this price again to pull back to the value area that I have over here. So once the price reached that level, you can see we have a 4-hour retracement candle. You can see this is a form of reversal candlestick pattern over here, which is nice to see. And in conjunction with our pattern, you can come up with a pattern from here. Okay, the pattern has lined up nicely with our value area. Okay, you can see that pattern has lined up so nicely with our value area. And again, even inside that pattern, you also have another ascending pattern towards that value area of ours over here. Okay, so we could have taken this risk entry over here at the top, because we have so much. We have like 3 confluences to why we should have taken this straight to the downside. But to play safe on these markets, we need to wait for a confirmation. Okay, so for a confirmation, let's go down to our 1 hour time frame. For confirmation, you can see the price has pushed aggressive to the downside with this big red candle over here. So what we would like to see is just one more push to the downside, breaking this lower high. Once we have broken that lower high, we wait for this pullback up to this value area that I've already drawn. Then we take this price to the downside. Okay, so this one will be a lovely trade, guys, and most yen pairs, this one will be so nice. Okay, this one will be very nice trade, and everything is lining up nicely on Euro Yen. You can see everything is lining up nicely with Euro Yen. So all you are waiting for is just a break of structure and a pullback. Okay, once we get those two, we'll enter this trade up to 90% rule over here, but I'll be looking to hold this trade for a while, because I'm seeing this as an overall correction, potentially breaking this low, then we start pushing again to the upside. This is what I'm seeing, and we might be getting this type of pattern over here. Okay guys, so watch out on this one. It looks so nice, Lastly, we are going to go through Aussie yen. Aussie yen also is at our value area. Finally, it has reached that value area of ours over there. Okay, so once we have that value area of ours, and looking the way the price has been behaving, it has been corrective. Actually, it has been consolidating. Okay, this area, it has been just in the same area over here. It doesn't give us the right direction, and that is because the value area had not been tapped yet. Okay, so looking at it, we tapped the value area and we pushed the downside, and then we retraced back in. So if I'm to come up with a pattern over here, same as euro yen, actually same as euro yen, this is same as euro yen. It's only that this one is a bit symmetrical than euro yen. Okay, so you can see with that third touch, the market broke the downside and then quickly correctively came back up. This is the first correction that we could have taken the trade with. Okay, this is the first correction, because you can see this was an aggressive push to the downside on lower time frame. That is, on lower time frame, this is aggressive push to the downside, and so the market had to correct that move before we continue the downside. So this one is a correction on lower time frame after this big move to the downside. So we could have taken that entry, but you can see with the yen, it has been giving us these corrections, but it has not committed fully to the direction that it was supposed to go. Okay, so what we'll be waiting for with this one, we can just come up with our trend line. As you can see, let me just remove now this pattern and focus on the trend line, because since we already know the overall direction that we are looking for, we can come up with our trend line now. This will be our trend line. Our trend line, firstly, the trend line was here, okay, but you can see the price broke it correctively, so we need to adjust it up to the recent anchor point. Then we wait for an impulsive break. This break has to be impulsive, guys. It has to be impulsive, then followed by a correction, then we look to enter the market. Now this will be the entry that you can take confidently for sales. That will be the safest entry you can get, even though on lower time frame, 15 minutes or maybe 5 minutes, we will get another correction over here, then it continues to the downside. So this is the correction that I will look to enter with. I'll potentially look to add entry on this one. Okay, so for you guys, look for this one, because the smaller one is a bit tricky to find it if you don't know what you're doing. So I'll focus on the second correction after the break of that trend line, and potentially the price will always, obviously will focus on the 90% rule, but I'll be looking again to see if this price will give us a drop to the downside before we push again to the upside, potentially giving this expanding pattern completion of this expanding pattern over here. Okay, I'll be expecting this drop to complete this expanding pattern over here. Okay guys, so that's it for this week, guys. Remember to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Cheers guys.